Okay, very nice. We have a lot of people here from all over the world. Дуже класно, маємо багато людей з різних країн тут. Будемо, напевно, починати. I think we will be starting now. Якщо ви хочете слухати англійською або переклад українською, ви можете нажати на 3 крапочки там, де написано More, і обрати глобус і Interpretation або переклад, перевод, якщо у вас інтерфейс російською мовою. To listen, to change the language, you can tap the 3 dots on the bottom where it says More, and then you can find the globe with the interpretation on it. And then you can choose which language, either original, maybe you want to learn some Ukrainian and listen in Ukrainian. Тож, я почну. Всім привіт! Я рада вітати вас на 3-му воркшопі в рамках програми «Діалог про колаж. Міжнародний обмін ідеями». Програма реалізується за підтримки Європейського Союзу через грантову програму House of Europe. Цю зустріч модерує менеджерка проєкту Ірина Кудряшова за ніком Kike Collage School, а над синхронним перекладом працює Лола Македон. Мене звати Annete Sagal, я ініціаторка цього проєкту і рада представити вам нашу лекторку Марушу Стибель. Маруша Стибель – словенська візуальна мисткиня, яка перетворює залишки минулого на критичні розповіді про сучасність. Її колажі – це глибокі дослідження стосунків, влади, суспільних ролей і людських взаємозв'язків. Вона ініціаторка і художня керівниця фестивалю сучасного колажу «Каос» у місті Крань в Словенії, який з 2018 року об'єднує митців з усього світу. Маруша, я передаю слово тобі. Маруша, your turn.
Oh, my turn. Okay. So first of all, I would just like to say hello to everybody. I'm very surprised there's like so many of you. I didn't expect that, but that's super cool. I hope I'll do justice to the lecture. So first of all, I'd like to thank Annette for inviting me. Even though I'm much better with pictures and cutting pictures than with talking, but I did took this opportunity just because I wanted to talk about a theme which I think is very important in collage art and in art in general, and especially in nowadays. And I think this is a collaboration. So I'm going to talk to you guys about collaboration, but I'm going to talk to you this from my experiences. So how collaborations change my shape of art practice, and different sort of a collaboration that I did with different artists, not just collage artists, but also like different media artists. So now I'm going to change and switch to the presentation. So I'm going to share a screen. Sorry if in the middle there'll be some technical problems. I'm really bad with this Zoom thing, but I'll try my best. So, okay, share screen. Okay. And now I have to do this. Okay, just a second. Okay. Yes, we're in. So I'm going to do a short introduction, even though Annette already did one. I'm Maruša Stibelj. I'm a collage artist from Kranj, Slovenia. I have been cutting and pasting for about the last 15 years, I would say. And before I found my media of expression in collage art, I was very fluid in changing and searching for my expression in different media. So I was surfing from photography to drawing and painting, and then video and animation, and also writing and so on. In that time, I was testing the waters because nothing of this media didn't like feel really right. So I also didn't fully immerse in any of it. But along with my passion of collecting garbage, as probably my friends would say, I started to combine the materials which led me to my own expression in collage. So I started using old napkins. This you can see on the right bottom of the picture. And this was very popular back then in Slovenia, like my grandmother and my mother, they were all collecting these napkins because you couldn't get so many choices in Slovenia, you know. So I started using these old napkins and also colored paper. And this colored paper you have on the upper right side picture. And this colored paper is usually used for fake flowers. So as I discovered along the process that this colored paper, when it's touched with water on canvas, it does like this aquarelic effect. And then on this aquarelic effect, I could put layers of napkins on it, which made an illusion that it's a hand-painted painting rather than a collage. And this you can see on the left side. So, you know, a lot of people were very confused about these techniques because they thought that it feels like a painting from afar, but then when you go up close, you see that there's only just layers of these napkins and this colored paper, and that the spilled color that is used is only used for material, so no additional colors whatsoever. So like truly a collage. And for the first years of my practice, I wasn't really researching and looking around when it comes to collage. I was totally fully invested in trying to figure out my own expression and trying to see if the media allows me to portray what I have to say and also what I have to express, of course. Suddenly, I felt everything is coming together like a collage. The pieces of thoughts were found and I could rearrange them as I wished to portray the reality I felt. It was fun to be in my art studio by myself, to have that peace and quiet where you can do things exactly as you want to do. And so I started to add on collages, cutouts from old magazines and newspapers, and then also additional old tapestry and fabric and curtains and found objects. And all of this happened also because of my collaborations, which I'm going to talk about it later on. And so I put everything that felt has some kind of story behind in these rustic looks. So I was turning different memories in one new concept with which I could fully express myself. So while working on my collages, I always worked alone. And during my process, I often thought about how different would it be if there was another person except me, with which I could, of course, brainstorm about ideas and about different perspectives and so on. But it took me years to understand the benefits of not being just by myself in the studio. And when we're talking about being in the studio and being an artist, we have to talk also about isolation. So isolation is not a foreign concept of art. If anything, the isolated artist is a well-established romantic trope made famous in the 18th century, and we have refused to let go of it since. As an artist, I do know how peace and quiet are important for artistic development. But on the other hand, for me, this became strongly connected a lot of times with working in my comfort zone, alone in the studio, and also it could lead to some sort of isolated feelings and feelings of loneliness, which probably all of you as an artist can relate to. Mary Fisher wrote some words which I can totally agree on, and I'm going to read you. And Mary Fisher says that long-standing image of the only lonely artist wasting away in obscure isolation is a bit overdone. Not all artists are recognized. Some are probably lonely. But the fact is that most of us in many fields of art do not work alone. We are one part of a collaboration that results in our art. So symphony orchestras, ballerina troupes, art is often a consequence of artistic collaboration, which is not a lonely task. It's as intimate as anything human beings can do. And when we are engaged in the making of art, we aren't segregated away from our communities or our culture. We are in the middle of them, breathing the community's air, hearing the sounds and smelling the aromas that define our neighborhoods. It's in our communities, in you and the people around us, that we find the creative ideas with which we work. We don't leave our communities to produce art. We join them, we explore them, we pray for them, worry about them, and of course, love them. So there is a butterfly effect of collaboration that happened in my work progress that I'm going to start talking about now. And so in my first years of diving into the collage world meant hanging around only by myself, as I said before, in isolation. But this was until I attended Collagistas Festival in Milano in 2017, which for me, I would say for the young artist, was a new and unexpected experience which affected my future artwork. So Collagistas Festival is an international collage festival, a celebration of a collage art in all its glory. It's an event organized by artist for artists, which I think is also very important because it has a different kind of concept. And these artists are from different countries, different cultures, and with different collage techniques. So this event started in 2014 in Berlin by two artists who wanted to organize an annual meeting of collage artists from around the globe. And one important criteria was that all the artists participate with their presence during the festival. There was, of course, no interest in organizing just another one collage exhibition. So the atmosphere and the enthusiasm in Berlin was so strong that led to the second edition of Collagistas in 2015 in Thessaloniki, with more participants and a music concert and workshop and so on. And then in 2016, Collagistas traveled to Eindhoven, bigger with more activities, installation, workshops. And after this Eindhoven, Milano edition came. And I got selected to exhibit, and for the first time, I was surrounded by collage artists from around the world. There were artists, talks, workshops, readings, and everything that you can find connected with collage, of course. I attended some collage workshops, and for the first time, I was trying to do collages with other people in the same room, which was totally out of space for me and totally interesting. We did like swap the collage workshop, cut out poetry in groups, group mural workshop, the list is long. And after this program, a lot of artists stayed longer as the atmosphere of exchanging ideas, knowledge, and experience was giving all of us a lot of creative energies. And I wasn't really thinking about that while I was attending the festival, but later on, and this is the butterfly effect, when I was home, I realized how much it affected me and my art and broadened my horizons. For the first time in my college years, I started to think outside my solo box of mind. What I realized is, in that short week of the festival, while cutting and pasting along other artists, that collaborations brought me a lot of positive things and also things that you normally don't think about, and that is your artist ego. While doing collages together in that short time of the festival, I realized how trusting the creative process of others and exchanging knowledge can have beneficial effect on my art. So, like with collage is, I think, also how it originates and what kind of technique is. And I think the collaboration is like really, it started at the beginning of collage. And I'm going to read you an article Collaboration Notion in Collage written by Benoît Depalté, and it was written for Collage magazine, which, if somebody doesn't know, it's a magazine for contemporary collage, and its origin is in Canada, and they also have a really strong collage community. So Benoît Depalté wrote about collaboration notion in collage. The notion of collaboration has always been associated with collage, if not intrinsically related to it. In recent years, we have seen collagists all over the world participate in a growing number of collaborative projects that have garnered much attention from the art world. Contemporary collage was born about 100 years ago in a collaborative effort by Georges Braque and Pablo Picasso during their Cubist experimentation period. In an attempt to free their work from the tradition of perspective and anchor it in the tangible, they added the first papier collé to their work. The first extensive use of collage occurred a few years later, when a constellation of poets and painters known as Dada used it, this time not only pictorially but also conceptually. Together, which is very important, together, they established the foundation of heterogeneous production that consisted largely of the juxtaposition of apparently unrelated ideas aimed to depict the nonsense of the era they were living in. The practice was later taken up and redefined by the Surrealists, who, along the way, established a collaborative way to create images in the writing, the exhaustive corpus. In our day, the advent of social media and our websites had allowed collage artists to share and discuss their work. Taking advantage of the ease in sending original works all over the world, many networks have been formed around projects or exhibitions. At the time when collage has pretty much flown under the radar, these artist-initiated collaborations provide a visibility that would be difficult to obtain elsewhere. But it goes further than just the opportunity to collaborate. Most collage artists work with found imagery collected from various sources. Their whole creation process is to play with these items made by others instead of establishing shapes and composing from scratch. Beyond these images, collagistas also use the choices made by others as a base material to conceive their work. In this way, collaboration can be seen as a constituent element of the nature of collage, as I said at the beginning.
Maruša?
Yes?
Sorry, are we still on the first slide or?
Yeah, no, it's okay. It's okay. This is only one slide and then we go.
Okay,
it's
thanks.
interesting after this slide. But for this article, just chose this slide so we can so you can really focus on my words. So that's probably the most challenging aspect of the practice, and it could explain in part the popularity of collaborative projects. Many collagists like to exchange and respond to other artists' choices, to have fun, to question their work, or to push back their limits. In the end, all these initiatives vary in form, but they all contribute to the crystallization of the global collage community. So, talking about collaboration, I have to talk about my experience, and I'm going to start with collage and ceramics. But first, before I dive into the collage and ceramics, I just have to say a few words about chaos also and the endless possibilities of collage. So after I took a part of Collagistas, the previous mentioned festival, I realized what a strong art community means for spreading the ideas, sharing your work, and developing your skills. Not only that the new international festival of contemporary collage chaos was born in Slovenia because of that. We will talk about these festivals. I mean, we can talk about this festival in the discussion. But it also sparked my curiosity about stepping outside my comfort zone and try to collaborate. So as I was trying to bring different views on collage through Chaos Festival in forms of like to show the diversity of collage techniques like collage illustration, collage in design, assemblage, collage in animation, collage installation, and so on. And when I was trying to bring these different views together, I found myself interested in combining my collage with previous creative interest. So I have to zip a glass of water a little bit. So this is David and me, and this was my first collaboration, and it was with ceramic artist David Almayer from my hometown, and it happened very organically while planning mural for the first edition of Chaos Festival. My idea was to connect collage with ceramics, which I have never done before, neither did David. Our shared aesthetics brought us together as an artist, and we wanted to do a piece that celebrates the beginning of Chaos and its beautiful surrounding of Kran City, which we were both from. So we decided we would do the piece simultaneously, which means working at the same time on the same surface. We gathered David's broken ceramics and my cutouts from old magazines and started on our collaboration. And what I find interesting is that it was the first time I really tried the concept of automatism in collaboration. So surrealist automatism is a method of art making in which the artist suppresses conscious control over the making process, allowing the unconscious mind to have great sway. So my way of approaching to mural would be totally different, as I thought that collaborations must involve a lot of discussing, which they do, but not in all cases. So because of that, and because of I was doing that piece with David, I knew we will have to find a way that suits both of us. So we went in field of automatism, which I knew from my solo work, but not from collaborative work. And he knew automatism from his work. So putting the cutouts and broken ceramics one after another in silence. And if silence is a big part of working alone, you would never thought that the same silence can work magic in terms of collaborations. For me personally, as it was my first bigger collaboration, swapping our turn to put the broken pieces on the mural in silence allowed me to totally trust the process and be more confident in my choices, as we were working around energy rather than discussion. You can imagine that creative trust was also a big part of our process. So after we did this mural, and also like small collage ceramics, which you can see on the right side.
Maruša, sorry, Maruša, we're still seeing just the first page.
Which page? Okay, and just one more, and then we are on the way.
Перепрошуємо за затримку. Зараз ще 2 хвилинки, і ми відновимо нашу роботу і нашу лекцію.
Just interesting. Yeah, okay, I think this now. Okay. You just put it in order, Annette.
No, it's okay. You don't have to. I put it in order.
Yeah, okay. So, no, I said to you, you just put it in order. So I'm just going to say when, the next slideshow is, or do you have the text?
Yeah, please say the next slide and I will be...
Okay, but we'll start with the first slide because we missed like some slides.
Yes, give me 1 second. I'm sharing.
Yeah.
Here.
Okay.
Це всім видно? Перший слайд?
Yeah. Just put it on big, yeah? No?
Третій
So
слайд.
this was the second slide, was the one that I told you about, the colored paper and the napkins, which you can see on the right is the colored paper with water on canvas, does this aquarelic effect. And on the left you can see, so this was my experimentation in collage and how I find my expression. And then on the left you can see the thing that I said, that it's a collage that looks like a painting, but in the end it really is a collage. So these were my first collage experiences. But then later on, next slide, Annette. Yeah, like I said, I also added like some old newspapers and old magazines, and then also some objects and some old tapisserie and also napkins and all of this stuff. And for this work, which is from 2024, I would say that all the collaborations that I had are like really seen in this, in terms of material and in terms of using of collage. Yeah. So yeah, and so another slide. So here is when I was talking about isolation, my lovely studio where there was just me and my collages, but no other people. And so for the first years, like I said, I was just doing things alone. And I did wonder how it will go if I would do with some artist, and how would I feel, and if it would get on my nerves or not. But anyway, so isolation is part of the artist's experience, but it shouldn't be all. So the next slide. Is the 5th down, yeah.
Now it doesn't want to open the slide.
It's always like I'm always worried about the technical stuff. For the whole
Right.
day, I was worried about the technical stuff because it's always something, with these computers. This is also why it really took me like years and years till I started to do digital collage, just because of all of this.
1 second. What is
Yeah,
happening?
I have no idea because I don't know why it didn't show on my. And I did try 3 tests before I joined you.
Okay. Yes. Yes.
Hopefully, in the meantime, not everybody will leave. Stay tuned with us. Okay. Okay. So I was talking about the butterfly effect of a collaboration, which started with the Collagistas Festival, which I said that it's a festival that organized artists to artists anyway. And slide on, Annette. And like I said, it started in Berlin and then went to Thessaloniki and Idinhava. And when it was in Milano in 2017, I was selected to be the guest artist. And so I was talking about what all this attending to this festival made a mark on me in terms of thinking about actually doing some collaborations, and also how community for collage art is very, very, very much important. And then slide on. This is also the collage festival. As you can see, we had like this space with the collage exhibition, but then also every day there was like workshops, solo workshops and also collaborative workshops, And on the picture down, you can see some collages that were made in duo, so like with 2 collage artists together, which is also something new for me. Slide on. And then we have the collaboration notion in collage. That was the article that I read you before. It was written by Benoît Depalty from Collage magazine, which is the magazine of contemporary art that comes from Canada, as I told you. And I was talking about how collage was born, how it's the notion of collaboration is a big thing in collage, from the start. And also talking about how Dada is connected and Surrealist connected, not just only pictures, but only like with poetry and writings and so on. And so slide on. And then I told you about how I came from Collagistas, and when I realized how strong the community is. Also, because of this Collagista community, also the Chaos Festival was born. Because, when I was at Collagistas, it was very funny, I was the only Slovenian. And also, like I said to you in the beginning of my artistic years, I didn't really research about collage. I was just doing my own thing, trying to find my expression. And so when I attended these collagistas, it was really special for me because for the first time, like I was speaking to Spanish people and they were saying like, we have collage marathons, we have collage exhibitions, we have like collage mafias when we're exchanging the collages, all of this stuff. And then also Germans had a lot of collage scene, and also people from other countries. But then when they talked with me and they asked what we had in Slovenia, I was like, I don't think we have something, we don't have nothing, So that's why also the Chaos Festival was born, also because I think I realized also at Collagistas that the community is so much. It's a really important part of art. If you want to build something, you have to build it with the community. You have to integrate it into the community. And I think this is what also art is all about. So next slide. Okay. So my first collaboration was with ceramic artist David Almayer, which you can see on the right, and on the left is me, a little bit younger. And David is also from my hometown, and our collaboration happened very organically while planning the mural for the first edition of Chaos Festival. So My idea was to connect collage with ceramics, and which I have never done, and neither did David. And our shared aesthetic brought us together as an artist. And so we wanted to do a piece that celebrates the beginning of chaos and its beautiful surrounding of Kran city, which we were both from. So next slide. And so we decided, like I already told you, I think here somewhere, you know, we had problems. So, but I already told you about the automatism that we used in the work that we did, and also about the shared silence we had while working, which was very surprising for me, because I thought that, you know, the collaborations is always about discussion, but then with David, because he works so differently, you know, it was all about energy, you know, just like feeding energy of each other, you know, which was really cool to observe, and also to be part of it. It was just a totally different way of how I'm working anyway. And so slide on. Yeah, so on the left, you can see this city of chaos that we did in the end, with simultaneously putting the pieces on the surface. And on the right, you can see one piece, which there were more around the city, but it's one piece where we combined also David's ceramic and my collage, which I think it was a really great combination, you know, because David has very interesting also glazures. So for the surface of a collage, I found it really, really interesting, you know. And it was also funny because, you know, we work so different, and it was totally different media. And because of that, we could also like learn from each other, you know. So I got a lot of technical skills also out of this project anyway. And after we did this mural, which was just an experiment anyway, before chaos, and these small collages that we did around the city, we got also a chance to do our first solo show together, you know. And because we tried something new and something that people still didn't see, which is combining collage and ceramics, and it didn't go unnoticed, you know. So slide on. So for our exhibition collaboration, we choose a theme that I wanted to explore for years, but couldn't really find the right way of expression, only through my college art. So I think I started with this project probably 4 or 5 times, and I just couldn't just something didn't feel right, you know. The materials that I use, I tried with with transparent photography. I tried with putting it on a wall surface. I tried a lot of things, but what I didn't try, it was going into space, like into 3D, which, damn it, as a ceramic artist, he does that. So we choose this theme, and because when we started to plan the exhibition, we tried to incorporate all those interesting conversations that we had while getting to know each other through art. So, and one of the shared things, which I think is also very important, you know, to find a shared thing with another artist when you're working collaboratively. And this shared thing was that we talked a lot about like these strange feelings that we don't have words for it, but they just exist. And a lot of times we think that we are like alone in these feelings, but when talking to each other, you know, talking with David, we realize like it's not, you know, it's feelings that we all have, but because they're so absurd and because we don't talk about it, then they just not there. So because of that, we decided to research the subject, the dictionary of obscure sorrows, the one theme that I couldn't do it in the previous year before I met David. And the Dictionary of Absurd Sorrows is a collection of invented words written by John Koenig. If you haven't came across on this dictionary, I would really suggest to go dive into it, because for me it was a really inspiring book, you know. And also later on, when I told about it to David, when we started to plan this project, he was also very, very, very inspired by it. And so Dictionary of Absurd Sorrows is a collection of invented words written by John Koenig. the American of Swiss roots came up with a dictionary so that he could use emotions that had no words in his poetry writing. The slogan themselves are word collages composed of 2 or more emotions. So it's like right into the alley of collage, collage of words. And because feelings are such an intimate and subjective perception, they have also given rise to different interpretation in the creators. So David read these feelings like in memories, and like shadows of the past, and new understanding of certain place and phenomenon through time. And I somehow connected the feeling with alternative realities and spaces. So we were talking about these words, and we tried to interpret it in our work. Which, next slide. Yeah. So this is how our collage and ceramic project looked like. They were different. Here's only one piece of work, but you can see the broken ceramics of David, and also like some small prints that we also printed and put it on the wall. So it was like kind of installation. And I think for the first time here, I went with this broken ceramics into space, which was very interesting because it added like the third dimension, which I didn't think about it before. I was just doing 2D and nothing else. And to like this was a word which is called scabulus, and we try to it's a certain scar on your body, which is like an autograph signed to you by a world grateful for your continued willingness to play with her, even if it hurts, and it comes from scab and fabulous, so scabulous, so there were all these, I think we portray, I don't know, maybe 20 of these words, so this was one installation, but then another slide. So like this was another piece, which was also from his ceramic tiles that we incorporated into my collage, into my colors. And this is a feeling that we interpret, and it's monachopsis, and it's a subtle but persistent feelings of being out of place. I think that we can all probably feel like that sometimes anyway. And as maladapted to your surroundings as a seal on a beach. You feel like a seal on a beach, or just like I have this feeling a lot of times, and David had it too. So we were just like, when we were choosing the words, this was the word that we had to choose anyway. So next slide. Yeah, so one of the things that we also did, it was because I saw these sculptures of David that somehow he already before incorporate some sort of his feelings, the things that we talked about. And so we wanted to also put it on exhibition, but connect it also with my art, with my collages. So here we did installation where it's his piece of ceramic piece, and there's a projection of collage video over it, and it's about the word, which is laxism. And it's this strange feelings that you sometimes get when you want to be struck by a lightning and survive it. And it's just a really weird feeling. And somehow, I would say I was always a little bit not afraid of this feeling, but ashamed of this feeling. But, I think it's in all of us. And this is also what me and David during this process discovered, So slide on. Yeah, so this is also how it looks like two rooms in the gallery where we had the exhibitions. So on the left, you can see the piece that we saw before with the tiles and with the collage, but then you can also see the second part, which is with little ceramic drops that we put into a space to get this effect of the stormy night when you're looking through the window. And also what we incorporated here in this project, which also I would never thought about, it's also mirrors, which you can also see here with with these tiers that are going from the ceiling. They are also mirrors on the wall, and with that we wanted to portray how, you know, this feeling, it is one feeling, but everybody maybe feels it in their own way, and that's why we incorporated mirrors. So, you know, each visitor that came in front of this piece, the piece would come totally different because they will be part of this piece. So I would say that also the audience, in a way, they collaborate in this project in some of the pieces, you know. So, and then if we moved on, next slide, just the next slide, Annette, I think it's, yeah. So if I was talking before about like shared emotions and feelings and this, in that collaboration, I would have to say that I'm going to talk about also about shared experience that you, when you work with other artists. And so I have to say that, you know, like being an artist, you know, it's not just you, but it's, like I said, the whole community and also the people who support you, you know. And it's, I think it's very important to put a mark on it, that we're not just solo people, but that we live in a society. So like Art Association of Kran was a big part of my first years as an artist. This is, I think it's very important, you know, because also I come from a small town, and I think that like connections and building connections and talking with older artists, and, you know, they have more experience, is very important. And this art society has like 40 years of history. There's a lot of great artists coming out of this society. And that is where, at the beginning of my career as an unknown artist, I had a first chance to meet up with other more experienced artists. And I think as a young artist, it's very important to get to know the community, like I said, and also the art field that you're working on. And also, you know, it got me opportunity to exhibit my works in group exhibitions and festivals, which probably would, without connecting with others, wouldn't happen, or it would be more difficult or slower to reach. It's very important, I think, to acknowledge and understand that the group effort that is not focused on the individual, but on achieving group results, can benefit everybody involved. And in the end, of course, it can also benefit the art overall. So, just a small sip of water. Thank you. Okay, so next slideshow. Yeah. So through this society, I had the pleasure to meet another artist, a painter from my generation called Kaja Urch. Kai is a painter and a fine art professor, and she is well versed in the craftsmanship of painting, as you can see on this picture, which is hers. She tests numerous techniques as well as her perception and memory. She paints pictures after picture, literally and analogically. Computer design serves as a sketch of the mental record of the seemingly effortless combination of random neglected images from the internet dump. This changes their meaning, and her an insightful, critical, satirical narrative leap occurs. So symbolism and iconography of the 21st century is a very big thing in her works. So next slide. Yeah, so her process of painting have some elements of collage. Maybe, and I just go back on the previous picture. Maybe it's better to see, yeah, just because I'm talking about the elements. So her process of paintings have some elements of collage technique. As in the preparation stage, she cuts lines in two images and then reconnect them with paint on canvas. Her work involves a great deal of patience and precision. You can imagine with all this, like, you know, small lines, you know. I have to say that this painting is about like 2 meters long and 1 meter high, just so you have in mind. So her work involves a great deal of patience and precision when dealing with the cutting out straight lines and being very careful with that kind of cutting techniques. Her content is already visible on her sketches, and the ending painting doesn't go far from the sketch, which is very important because I work totally different. So just now we can go on the other slide. You can see here, well, anyway, now when you zoomed in, like there are two pictures that are put together in lines, you know, so it's a very long process to do that. And also you have to plan really well. That's why her sketch is never so different than the ending part of the painting. Next slide. Okay. So, but in my case, the process of making my collages is sometimes very much chaotic, and I look more for organic lines than the straight ones. Also, I never really know where I will end up with finished work, despite my sketches at the beginning. We would probably both agree that we are as different as our art is, but somehow in the process of battling the fresh ground of creative life, we would become not only art colleagues, but also friends. So, and you can also see from the picture on the right how different we are. I'm like a goat and she's just like a calm person being in peace. So one day I decided to invite her to do a project together with me. As I knew how different we are in the way we work, I thought it would be a good challenge and a good learning experience. Also, I wanted to go out of my comfort zone again. With collaborations, definitely you go out of your comfort zone. Next slide. Okay. While we were searching for a topic and technique that we both want to explore together, we decided to do some workaway days in a summer cottage. And having the luxury to fully immerse in a project without distraction can be very beneficial and work as a team building. So I think it was very important for this project to just go away from the city, like for a few days, to really concentrate on each other and on each other experiences and also on each other's thoughts, you know. So we did like this team building instead of like, you know, going for sessions to do collages or just like grabbing a coffee to talk about our project and so on, you know, and have meetings, you know. So we did like that, and I think it worked really well. Yeah. So as I never worked with fabrics in my collages, but always wanted to do, and because Kaya, she sews in her free time a lot, we decided to make a piece out of old fabrics, which was something that was new for both of us. And I think that that point of view in a collaboration is also very important, to find some common ground that feels good and challenging for both parts. So for us, this was fabric, you know, it was just fabric. And we talked a lot about which subject to explore in our collaborations. One day, as we were driving by the river Kolpa, this is in Slovenia, and this river Kolpa borders Croatia, we realized that the government already put kilometers of fences to deal with migration, which closed the entrance to water and also threatened the animals, along with accidents involving trespassing. It was really hard to drive along the fence and not notice it. Somehow both of us couldn't really focus on anything else, and so there is where we found our subject. We had to change our idea that we had at the start, so we started with a bunch of this doing like this composition out of these old clothes, you know, and rugs. But we really didn't know where we're going, so we are just improvising. But then when we went on this drive by the river, and when we saw the fence, you know, and we came back, this is where we totally changed our project like 180 degrees. And one slide on. Yeah, so this is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about doing a project from shared experience. You know, this drive was our shared experience, and we decided to do we decided to do a project out of it. You know, so our response of shared experience of a fence by the river was a spatial installation, which is what you can see on the picture, in which we tried to reflect on empathy and its absence. We proceed from the thesis that empathy is the brightest of the color scale of emotions, and as such requires the individual's courage to accept things as they are. Emotional intelligence enters the thinking. The creative installation shows the relationship of two or perhaps more people in interaction, positives and negatives. We can choose for ourselves whether to notice contact, distress, a call for help or not. We believe that the artificially created distance of the modern world causes direct communication to lose its meaning, as we can tailor-make our own positive reality. And this increases the prejudice and stigma. If we became aware of the great influence that each individual has on their environment, it's easier for us to develop our empathy. So this was the project. It was a project about empathy, and it started because of the shared experience and also because of the shared interest in fabric, in doing something with fabric, which in the end we actually also use it, even though if you don't see this fabric on this picture, you know, that was also very funny. So we decided to get some old building fence, of course, because, you know, we were by the fence, by the river. So it was like kind of connotation to this fence, and sew fabric into it. So there's this fence, and then we sew like pieces of fabric in it to make it stronger, and then finish it with a paper that I usually work with, you know. All the elements that were separately used in our art practice was there. So it was cutting, it was pasting, it was painting, it was straight lines and organic lines. So it's like we did this mixture of our artist practice, you know. And as you can imagine, there was also a lot of technical things and playing to do, and it helped a lot to be creating this with Kaya, because she's like really calm, and she's very technical, and she knows a lot about stuff. And in this case, it really had to be built really, really good and really, really exact, you know. Slide on. Yeah, I think so. This is Karen and me. After the exhibition opening, we were very happy to put this project on, because it was quite hard to put it on the tower. And I think neither of us would be able to do that kind of project alone. It did took two individuals with different strengths to do it in a way that we did it. And on the way that we did it, we had a really, really a lot of fun. And I think also fun it's also a big part of collaborations. Well, it can be, and I'm really happy that in this case, it really was. So slide on. Yeah. So as a collage artist, I never played music in my life. Like I always wanted to, but I just don't have I don't have the skills to be a musician. Even though I would be like gladly playing something and be in a band, because it always just always looked so fun for me anyway. And I really, really like music. But yeah, sadly I'm bad at it. So now I'm going to talk about how this me not being into music, or me not knowing the music, came into a collaboration with collage. And it happened that I met Tomasz Tuller, which you can see on the left side. He's a musician, and he bought a collage from me. And I knew he was a musician, and so our meetup led to an idea of me doing a collage cover for his new song. Our conversations around the song sparked ideas, and I decided that for the first time in my life, I'll go into the field of digital collage and animation, which I haven't done before. And also, a lot of people were like saying to me, like, you know, Maruša, you're doing analog, but you should also do the digital, you know, because you'll have like more, you could do more things with it, you know, you can also do the design and all of this. But I just wasn't into digital stuff, and I was just like, no, I'm not going to do it. But then when Tomaš's sons came into the picture, it was the first time that I thought, like, you know, maybe not because of me, but maybe because of this song, you know, I want to do a digital collage and turn it into animation, you know. So while I was doing this, I was always also learning about animation and about digital collage, which I would never probably done it, or I would done it later on in my process. So I went totally straight out of my comfort zone again, which is also, I think, like what I like with collaborations, because, you know, it's just different people bring you into the different zone, you know. And I have to say that Tomasz took a big faith in me for trusting me with his song, as it was something totally new for me. Our collaboration in this process was listening the song, and then I could do whatever I wanted. So animation would be my answer to Tomasz's song. So it was just this like passing the collage, you know, I do one thing and then you do another thing and then the collage is finished. And in this case was, you know, he plays a song, I listen to it, and then I do a collage on it, and he doesn't sees it before it's issued, you know. So he's seen it at the end of the process, not in between. And now I'm going to show you, because, you know, after we did this album cover collaboration, you know, we also did 2 animations. Like I said, you know, I started with the digital collage, but because of the song, I realized that I wanted to put this collage in motion. So now we're going to see, and I hope now I can share a screen and look at maybe I can share a screen just to see if we can watch the video, you know.
Try it, yes.
Okay. So do you see it?
No, I can see the folder with the slides.
It doesn't work. I don't know why.
Can you share the link in the chat, and I will.
I'll find it in just a second, because this I had it prepared in the presentation, the video, but just let me find it on YouTube, which is also on YouTube. And the computer is slow again. Please be patient.
What's it called? Maybe I can open it on mine.
Lie sweet. Okay. I'm going to send you the link, and then I'm going to send you another link for later on, just so we don't lose it. Okay. So chat, and anyway, you guys will have link in the chat, so you can also look at it later on in peace, but we're also going to do it together. Okay, this is one.
Can you stop sharing your screen, please?
Yeah, I did. It's okay?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
okay.
yes.
Okay. Just wait a little bit before you start playing, so I find the other one also and put the link in, so then we can continue without the distractions. Okay, just a second. Okay, this is not good. Okay. Okay. Okay, and now we go back to chat. Okay, cool. Another. Okay, now you can. So this was the video that you're going to see was the leap of faith that Tomasz took of me, and it was like, so he played me the song, and then I could do whatever I want. Somebody's talking.
A moment. Share. Okay.
Cool.
Daleč tam je nov svet, tam daleč stran slyším srdce. con sé.
Okay. Well, you can also watch this video later on, because maybe it's a little bit more smooth than it was on the screen, probably because of the connection. No, this just stop. We'll go back to the presentation. Yeah. Okay. So after I did this 2 animations, we decided to do with Tomasz a unique collage music collaboration. It was Tomasz's idea, as I would never in my life thought about it. Also, probably never try it, as my presence on stage is catastrophic. Well, even in front of the screen is a little bit catastrophic. But because our previous collaborations were really, really fun, I said, why not, So, and it was a really special project, because the project was based on a live concert with 12 different songs on which I would do 12 different live collages, And each song was about like 3 or 4 minutes long. And again, this was totally out of my comfort zone. Honestly, this time was out of my zone totally. And while preparing for the concert, I visited Tomasz and the band. There were other guys in the band. Tomasz always jokes that, I was invited because, they needed a girl in the band, even though I wasn't a musician, but anyway. And so while preparing for the concert, I visited Tomasz and the band almost every Wednesday to listen to them practicing songs and to talk about it and try to think about what concept for a collage would go along with each song. Because I didn't just only want to do like normal analog collage, but I wanted to find a technique of collage for each song. And this meant that I had to really go to rehearsals and really listen to the guys and really talk about also music and talk about rhythm. So the place where they had rehearsals was small, so I couldn't cut collages during the rehearsals, so I just listened very carefully. And every song was more or less 4 minutes. It did help a lot that the guys took me as part of the band. I wasn't playing or singing at the rehearsals, but I did listen and learn some rhythm, which later on would help me on stage. And so slide on. Yeah, okay, so like you can imagine, this concert was 50 minutes long, something like that. And then for each song, you can see, I will play the video later on, but here you can see different techniques. And on the left picture up, if you move a little bit, Annette, this, because all of the things, all the collages that I did on the table, we projected on the screen behind the band. So, and one of the collage technique that I used in terms of rhythm and in terms that of course, because I worked with the ceramic artist David before, I know they have like this circle thing for the ceramics, to do the ceramics. So I use this and I put images on it. And then during the song that they play, I put cutted images on this round surface, and then I also roll it in terms of the rhythm, so it was a really fun experimentation, just combining everything together. And then on the right you can see just like on the right you can see some colored paper. So this was just a normal collage with one image, but then just a lot of colored paper that I put around also regarding to the song that it was playing. And then on the left down, you can see I also used, in one song, I use a technique, a VJ technique, where I collaged old videos, And then on the right, you can see you can see that, if they propelled 12 songs and I went on rehearsal, then we agreed that, one song will be improvisation, and in improvisation in a way that I'm going to do a collage and they going to reply to me with a song which is going to be improvisation regarding the words and regarding the the song. So which was also very fun for them, because they never done it, just like looking at the pictures and playing music, along the way. And I think it was a really great experience. We had a lot of fun. And maybe I have one more video. Maybe you can watch it later on when we stop the discussion, and you can look at it your computer. But this video is from the concert, and in this video you'll see these 12 different techniques that I use in terms of the concert, and also just the energy on the stage, and how the project looked. And so what this collaboration brought me was a big sense of what all is possible. Also, I must say it was very fun to go and listen to the rehearsals and to hang around guys and their vision of music. The visual concert had a great feedback. People loved the different idea how to combine collage and music, as it was something new to them. So I would say that it was a win-win for all of us. I also have to talk about the audience that you are building as an artist. Collaborations that you take will also bring you different audience and vice versa. There were people who didn't know about my collages before seeing me on the stage, and people who knew my collages, but they didn't know Tomaž's music, and it was something new for them. And I think it's very important to expand your public, and when it involves a fun collaborative project, it's even better. Next slide. Okay, so also, so we had now music artists, we had a ceramic artist, and now I'm going to put into a picture, into the story, also architect, And me and Maya is on the left, already joined our forces in a collaborative project where we renovated old furniture. Maya chose restoration color and design, and I applied collage on it, which you can see on the right side. It was just a small project so that we can see how we can work together, and it was done also for the ambient for the Chaos Festival anyway. And so we both love recycling, so this was like the starting point of our first project together, because also she is an architect, she recycles a lot. So Maya Inko, who's an architect, we joined forces for my solo show Maruša and Friends. The show was created out of my collage series from 2015 to 2020. But as collaborations are also a big part of my experience as an artist, I decided to also show a collaboration project in this big show that I had. And that is why I chose the title Maruša and Friends, also to emphasize the importance of collaborations anyway. So next slide. Yeah. So the gallery where I had a show was in a cultural house that has many exhibition spaces, and one of them is also Maruša Gallery. This is just one of the spaces. There's more spaces that I had to fill during my exhibition, but that was one of it that we did with Maya. And it's a small space with a big glass window, and it's seen from the coffee terrace of the house. As Maya is an architect, I really wanted to do something with her that has a connection with space, but also layers, as in my collages. I was very excited to see her different ways of seeing the space and work with it. We agreed that the little gallery with windows is perfect for our project, as it allowed us to play with different dimensions of inside and outside spaces. Also, you can see like layers. You have a layer of wall in the gallery, but then you also have a layer of glass, and then the third layer is the third dimension, and this is the visitors who are on this terrace. So it's like layering the space. So it's a funny photo on the right, and I'm going to explain you now. So I met Maya, in kindergarten, but then after the kindergarten, after 7 years old, we lost touch. And years later, we met again through a mutual friend, Susanna, from which Susanna was a friend from my university years. But what I didn't expect was, and I didn't know or remembered, was that I met Susanna 20 years before, and it was on Maya's 6th birthday, but we just didn't know. Um, we just realized when Maya showed us the picture, and we were like, whoa, you know, we didn't met at 20, we met at 6, and we are all three together on this picture, and we didn't even realize it. So it was like this really strange, happy, and funny coincidence, you know. And why I'm showing you this picture is because this is what sparked our inspiration for the collaborative project that I had with Maya, and is coincidence. We started to talk about friendships and how at the beginning we're all strangers, but some brief moments can turn a stranger into a friend or vice versa. So we also talked about how sometimes a small unexpected thing you say to a stranger or they say to you can change the course of decision making for them and you. It happened to me and to Maya also. So because words can be heavy. And somehow we wanted to portray this idea in our work. We just found like this together subject because of this picture. So we felt very eager to explore it. And we were really eager to explore it through layers and through space. And so next slide. So this was our installation. So in on the left picture up, and if you can zoom in a little bit. So you see we incorporated the picture of us three on the walls of the gallery. But then it's just the cutout of the whole scene that is on the window. And the project was done like this. So it was interactive project and people would come into this space. And so now you can zoom out a little bit on it and go down a little bit. So we see the pictures. Yeah. So it also put like we recycled the mirror, we recycled the chairs because we both do that. And we wanted to do a space where strangers could meet and maybe strangers could start a conversation. And then maybe strangers can become friends and help each other anyway. So there was it's a really hard to explain because it's a whole thing, but I'll try my best. So under these seats, which we renovated them, there were on the floor there were a lot of words, and these words we choose because one word can make a difference to people, and one word is always what started the conversation. And these words that were lying on the floor was because when you enter the space, you could enter with a friend or you just can enter by yourself and sit on this seat. And then you can wait, like in the waiting room, and then maybe some others will join you, some strangers. And with that, like sitting on these chairs, of course, sometimes we have problems with talking to each other and with talking with strangers. But if there are words on the floor, because we did put words on the floor, like different words, they could choose one word, and with this word, they can start a conversation. So it was like this interactive, collaborative installation with which it wasn't just that you were part of the installation when you were inside and experienced the conversation with strangers, but then also you could be public from the outside and look into the inside and see what's happening in this television look like square on the window. So in a way, like voyeuristic thing anyway. So we also put the mirror across these seats. There was a mirror so that people who are, when they are talking, they could observe outside like they were driving on a train, like and looking through the window, or also they could talk with a stranger and actually look at each other in the mirror, And on this mirror we wrote a sign, and it said that one word is enough, which it really is. So this was our collaborate project, and I think I learned a lot about just how complex the space can be and how you can really have to think about what kind of space it is and where are the pluses and where are the minuses of this space. So this space, like, for that kind of thing is very good, but if you would put only like something on the wall, maybe it wouldn't function that well, but we used the space, which was of course my idea because she's an architect, and yeah, so in a way we learned from each other. I learned from the space, and she learned from the maybe also from just conceptual thing of doing a project. And then I'm going to talk about the last project together that I did. I choose. Oh, you can go on the next slide. Or maybe it's another email. Okay. So yeah, now I'm going to talk about the last collaboration. I mean, I did more collaboration, but I chose this one just because it was with another collage artist, you know. So we had ceramic, we had music, we had architect, and now we're also going to have a collage artist, you know. All good, Annette? You find it? The pictures are coming, they are coming. Ah, here we are. Unknown subject of interest and different skills. About this we're going to talk in this collaboration with another collage artist, Eva Mlinar. So the first time I met Eva was at the Chaos Festival, where I invited her as a guest artist. I didn't know her before, but I knew her work and I really loved it. And I chose her work for a mural in front of Karan Library. She specialized in digital collage illustration, for which she received numerous awards. I had a strong feeling her work will suit perfect in our public space, even though for her would be a first mural. While she was at the artist residency working on a mural, we had a chance to get to know each other a little bit better. Next slide. You can also show Eva, maybe with the, well, anyway, okay. Yeah, there's some of her artwork in the behind, but we'll also see some more in the future. So our first project together was actually I have to talk about this before I talk about the main project we did. But our first project together was doing a collage about women emancipation on bicycles, which later on grew into a mural project. So if we wouldn't do this digital collage, probably there wouldn't be no mural. But because we already joined forces in this to celebrate women in this collage, we also then had a chance to be part of the IPK Nova Gorica, and we did this little house of water, and we painted it also with a woman on bicycles, but this one Alexandrinke, and Alexandrinke were women who went in Egypt to raise other children, but they had to lift their children in Slovenia, and also there's, well, anyway, there's a whole story behind it. So Eva is not just a collage artist, but she's also an art historian and a designer. Her knowledge is wide, and her process of digital collage is full of symbolism and references from the history. She thinks over every detail. I was fascinated with her process of thoughts and her obvious interest in grotesque. Maybe a slide on, I forgot to say to you. I think there's some works. Yeah, you can see here a little bit more works of Eva Mimmer, just so you have an idea. I also recommend you to go and check maybe her webpage, because she's really good at what she's doing. And so she was I was fascinated with her process of thoughts and her obvious interest in grotesque, you know. So since at least the 18th century, grotesque has come to be used as a general adjective for the strange, mysterious, magnificent, fantastic, hideous, ugly, incourageous, unpleasant, or disgusting, and though is often used to describe weird shapes and distorted forms, which I think is also like, I could say like also a big part of my collage in a way, you know, I would say that grotesque, you know. And next slide. So while we were talking about this, about grotesque, you know, somehow I mentioned a subject that I was exploring in my artwork the last years, and that is melancholy. So I was already dealing with melancholy for the last, I don't know, 2 years before speaking to Eva. And Eva also, not knowing my subject of interest, was exploring melancholy at the same time, which is kind of crazy. And while I was more intrigued about self-reflection in connection to melancholy, she was interested in the art history of melancholy and its interpretation through history. So it was like so cool because we could share it like in this collaboration, like the shared theme, which was melancholy, but then also from different perspective of melancholic. And even though I was planning a solo show, I couldn't go around the new discovery of a shared interest with a person which I admire. So the idea of group show came into a picture. It was the first time I collaborated with another collage artist. Yeah, so here's a little bit of our working process. And we can move on to the next slide, where we'll see a little bit more. Well, yeah, we can also just be here, yeah. And so once again, I suggested to have a concentrated few days of brainstorming together, like I did with Kaya, because it was just such a great experience. So we took a week in eastern part of Slovenia, and during that time, the ideas were born. After a really long time, Eva tried going back into making collages analog, and I, on the other hand, decided to do digital ones, as I had much more knowledge in analog than digital. So we just swapped, you know. She's doing work in digital college, usually, only in the digital colleges. She didn't touch analog for a really long time. And for me, it was the different way around. So I do usually analog, but then for this project, I decided to do digital. Of course, the process is very different when it comes to analog or digital. And here's where we could help each other with our knowledge. It was interesting to observe which obstacles we both came across. Like, you know, when we were for this week just discussing about what we're going to do and just trying to do collages, some sort of sketches and stuff, it was so funny to see how I had problems with the digital collage because, you know, with the digital collage is so different because you have so much pictures available that you can use, and also, you know, when you're working on a computer, you can also like change colors, you can mirror, you know, the picture, you have all these abilities to do whatever you want. Whereas in analog collage, it's totally different. You know, you have the material that you have, so the magazines that you have. So even if your concept is an elephant and a giraffe, but if you don't find an elephant and a giraffe in the magazines, of course you have to change it with other symbolic that you can find in the magazines. So the process is totally different, and we both had a little bit problems, you know, while working on these colleges, you know. But actually, it was also very fun because we could also learn from each other. So she learned me a lot about digital collage, and I think, learned her a lot about analog collage. Next picture. So here you can see also how we did. So the right one is from Eva's and is analog collage, and then the left one is digital, which is mine. And I think we also wanted to do, even though we have different aesthetics, but somehow we wanted to do exhibition that looks like a whole, or maybe also like a whole concept, and also like one artist made it. And I think like somehow how we combined this dialogue, we made it happen. So primarily we focused our creative thinking on Durer's famous painting Melancholy. This is certainly one of the works of art that remains eternally and at the same time. We saw some parts of this Melancholia that we cut it out in the previous pictures. But anyway, this cutting out Melancholia was just one of the collages, but then the rest were like this, as you can see on the picture. So this thing we explored in numerous collages individually or in the dialogue. So this is the dialogue. And at the same time, in the countless symbolism and association that fill the surfaces, we actually invite the viewer to reflect on their ambiguity. In fact, the that the individual work of both of us involuntarily seduces us into melancholy. The cut details that merge into a new story convey to us the idea of seeing and feeling the life of both of us. I think there's one more picture, no? Yeah, no, go back. So alongside other works, we also did the dialogue of our college side by side, like I told you before. Once again, our collaboration didn't come unnoticed, and later on we decided to work on several other projects together. So it was like some sort of starting of a collaboration, which I think will last for long, long years. So I talked, because I was talking about my experience with collaborations, so I asked Eva to let me know her experience and what she gained out of collaborating with me, so that we have also another perspective, what he brought to her. So another slide. So she said, and she wrote that the class was going beyond established processes and experimenting more, which I think she did with me. And we also incorporated, while we were there at the summer house, of course, because I'm always collecting junk, we were also collecting junk. And also, so we also tried experimenting with that. So also this was on the exhibition, also some little assemblages. So the next one that Eva wrote was, you approach things differently than you would otherwise, which leads to different, fresher products, which I totally agree. And also, I totally agree that you can start repeating yourself faster if you are alone than if you are in a collaboration. Greater motivation and more fun. This is a no-brainer, when it comes to collaborations. I think, it's so cool to have somebody who's like, when you're down, he just picks you up, and sparks your creative energy back. And then collaboration alleviates perfectionism if you're prone to it. And Eva is really prone to perfectionism. And not that I'm not a perfectionist, but in a way that I work, I'm more loose at the beginning. And she's not so loose at the beginning. So this is something that I think I taught her in a way, I'm more spontaneous also. So great relaxation when creating, less internal pressure was for her. The possibility of real-time feedback and constant dialogue. So you have someone you debate and resolve the dilemmas with, which is also a big plus for me. It's just like when you're solo in your studio, it's like you have nobody to ask and for advice, or just to let you know how they see it and another perspective, because we can a lot of times we can really go into our own mind only. And so the next slide, which is the last slide. And this is like my side, the things that I want to say to you about my experience in collaboration. So I think the biggest thing was learn to put my ego aside, because when you're working alone, you can do whatever you want. But when you're collaborating with somebody, you really have to put ego aside for a better purpose of a project, because sometimes your idea is not the best, and you have to admit it, and you have to give credits to the other artists, and use their idea, to finish the project together. So I think ego, which sometimes we have problems with ego artists, so I think that collaborations is something that that you realize that you have ego, and then you can start working on that, and then upgrading your skills. Like I said before, I through all this collaboration, I learned a lot of technical stuff, and also the way of thinking, and different ways of creative work, of course. And then, like Eva said, another perspective, and also like learning and teaching from each other. And which I also like is brainstorming with a filter, because when I brainstorm a lot, and when I brainstorm alone and I have a lot of ideas, sometimes I'm not really good at picking the ideas that are good. But then when you're brainstorming with some other person, then it gets easier, because they can also do like a selection from their side, from their perspective. And also, as I said, with the music and collage collaboration, it's like you get different public, and I think also your vision gets stronger with each collaboration that you do. So I think this will be all from my side. Like, I hope you enjoyed it. I'm very sorry for some technical problems. I also hope I wasn't talking too fast or just being very confused. But yeah, thank you for listening, and once again, and thank you for inviting me. But now I think we still have some times, like if anybody has any questions that want to ask, or like maybe have some question also about the Chaos Festival, or like any other thing that deals with my with my artist practice.
There's another video that we haven't seen. This one.
Well, this I think I didn't. Yeah, I didn't put it on just because the first video was really slow. So maybe the people can look at this video later on. Yeah,
Okay.
because this video is from the concert that we played, and so in this video you can see the concert and also like 12 different ways how I did the collage, So anyway, but this you can watch later on, just like in peace, and because I can see it's not it's not really smooth.
Mhm.
Yeah. Now I can turn the
I
video on.
don't see you. You don't. Yeah. Okay.
Now you see me. So yeah, so like any questions, I don't know, should they write it down and you ask me, or how it goes?
Yeah, there's a question. How do you find partners for your collaborations?
Well, I find it like I said, is usually it's through shared interest or just shared energy. And like, Kaya, I met in Art Society of Kran. Like when I met her, probably also we would never say that we would get along good because we're so different. But along this process of becoming, of being a young artist, and becoming something more, we somehow started to talk more, and we realized that we have more in common than we thought, and also that our ideas and the things that we want to portray to the world are the same. So I'm always looking for the energy that can bring me up and that can bring my project up and that can like put some diversity also in my work, so one was like the art association, then David was just random, he's from Kran. I mean, he has a workshop in Kran, so one day I went there, we started to talk, and then we were talking for years, and then we started to collaborate, like after years and years. I didn't even think about before to work with David, but then it was like, yeah, why not? We have shared the interest, we have shared aesthetic, but different visions, so why not? And then Eva Mlinar, I just invited her to this Chaos Festival because I think her art is great, and out of that the collaboration came. So it was just about an artist that I admire, and I was like, hey, do you want to do a project with me? And she's like, yes, I want to. So it was really cool. And then with Tomasz, it was just, he was my customer. He bought a collage from me, and from then just, it's just, I think about, you just have to talk a lot with people, and when you're talking, just be very thoughtful about their energy and just what they want to say, and then see if it goes along with you well. But then sometimes also, I had like this, which was also, it was the first collaboration, but this I forgot because it was just at the beginning of my artist practice. And I attended this colony for young artists, and it meant that they invited 6 of artists that does art in different techniques, and they 6 artists there from different countries. And the concept of this colony was, it lasted 10 days, and at the beginning of 10 days you picked from the hat the name of the artist that you're going to collaborate with, so, and then you have to for 10 days collaborate with this person that you never met before, that has totally different techniques as you, and that's from the other country. And then after 10 days you have to do exhibition together, so some works for the group exhibition that is later on. And this was actually my first, so this was totally unknown because I didn't know Dora. She was a graphic the classical graphic artist, and me as a collage, and we were just like looking at each other what we're going to do. But I think after 2 days we just clicked and we just started to do, and in the end we did paintings with collages which when people look at it they thought it was one person, and this is also how people knew that the collaborative way went really well. Because then on the other side, of course, there's also collaboration that can go really wrong, and in this colony there was a dialogue between artists, so they were also from different cultures, and they were men and women, and somehow I think the ego came into the way, so they almost totally, like, they argued a lot, and one almost left. Then somehow they calmed down and they did the project because of the colony till the end. But on exhibition you could really see, and the audience could really see, that the energy just wasn't there, and that the project just didn't fit the description anyway. So yeah, so it's like, it's totally random, and and I think I also wanted to go outside my box, not just working with collage artists, but like with different, media artists. I always wanted to this. I never tried like working with writers or poets or philosophers. It's like different segments that you can put into your art, which is, I think back in the days they did more, and also like with the surrealistic group. Nowadays I think we're more isolated, and I think we're also very into, okay, so I'm a visual artist, so I'm in the visual classical art scene, I'm not in the musician scene, but why not mix everything together? Why don't get the knowledge? I think you can spread ideas more. Hopefully I did answer the question. Sometimes I just go over the board with words.
There's a question, which program do you use to make animation?
After Effects. And the first one that I did was Photoshop, and I did only like a stop motion, but this was the first one, and it was really, took me for ages, and yeah. But with After Effects also I had some problems, but then also I connect with for this, the blue video that you saw, I connected with Annete Sagal, which she's an animator. She does more for the commercial stuff, but she's very artistic, and she was very happy to help me with this animation, to teach me, and to do it till the end, so it really works, So these are the two. And then for the videos I use Premiere.
Did you have unsuccessful experience in collaborations? How did you deal with it?
You know what? Not actually. I can't say like really bad one. No, there's always problems. There's always, even if the energy is super high, super low, there's always problems because we are human. So, one day we're feeling good, the other day we're not feeling good. We all have our personality traits that can get on people's nerves, like especially me, I can be very chaotic, very not organized, so it's like, all my process is very unorganized, and but I wouldn't say I had a bad, no. I think my collaborations, I just had luck. Maybe I just also, because I usually, like, there was people who also wanted to collaborate with me, but then I really like if the ideas that I have about the world and the messages, that they're somehow in the same spectre as mine, Like, it can be different techniques, it can be totally different, like, how do you say, not vision, but just like the basic things has to be there, like the traits has to be there, that I can choose to work with it. Because if you work with somebody that's like, even from the beginning, maybe you don't like know what to talk about, or it just doesn't go, then probably the collaboration also wouldn't go, and if they don't feel what you're doing, because with all these artists, I think they also felt my work as I felt theirs, so it wasn't like, okay, you do collages, but they were like, okay, so you do this collage that I also like, you know what I mean? So yeah, so I can say, yeah, but like I said before, there can also be really bad collaborations. There can also be like ego stepping inside the collaboration and just ruin everything, or just the differences in the way we work. Some people need more time, some are more faster, but I think that for a good collaboration, and I think this is the main thing, is a good dialogue. You know, you have to tell the person that you're collaborating, you know, all your frustrations, all your things, all the comments, you know, everything, you know, it's not good to hide things, I think, and it's always good to have a good communication when you do collaboration. So with my collaboration, I had luck, you know, I could communicate with this artist very good.
Thank you. And there's the last question. Please tell us how many artworks you've created for the last exhibition and in which period of time?
Okay, so I can say, because I have I have an upcoming exhibition in like 3 weeks, and this exhibition will be, I will represent three projects, so 3 exhibition in one exhibition. So one will be melancholy, and then one will be the embracing of sadness, and then one will be chronically late. And these all collages I did in the last 5 years. And if I would sum up how many of the pieces, I would say around 50 pieces, probably, you know, big on canvases like meter and meter, or like small on paper, and then also some objects. But this is only for this exhibition. But then if I see the production from the last 5 years, it's a lot. Because I think, because I started so late with collages, because I was just searching for my artistic expression and also other techniques, I always felt that I'm a little bit behind. So I'm really productive in a way that I always think that I'm a little bit behind with the knowledge and skills and stuff. So I did really a lot of stuff in the last 5 years. But yeah, the next exhibition will be probably around 50 pieces. Like, it depends on the space, it depends on the curator when he chooses, you know. But these three series are made out of 50 pieces, more or less.
There's one. Do you talk with your collaborator at the start of which result you're looking for, and are you fixing it in an agreement, like in a document agreement?
Once again, can you just reply can you do the question again, because I thought you were asking something else, but in the end I realized it's something else. So just reply.
So the question is, do you speak with your collaborator before you start the collaboration, how the result will be, and do you sign the documents that you're like collaborating?
No, I don't sign any documents. Probably it would be good, but in my case, so far so good. So it was like, you know, it was all the time shared experience, so there was no problems with the copyrights or any other stuff. So like in my case, but it depends with who you're working, you know. But in my case, I get to know people quite good, you know, during the process. So yeah.
Okay. Well, I think we should. Oh, there's one raised hand, Елизавета.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. First of all, I want to say thank you, Maruša, for your presentation and for your job you do, for your artworks also. And I have a question. Maybe could you share with us name of some festivals in Europe which is ready for meet with artists, actually, or have some open calls, or
Oh, you mean sort of like collage festivals, or?
Yeah, of course.
Regarding the collage festivals, is a really tough one, you know. So we had the collagistas, but now it just went down a little bit. So hopefully, you know, I think next year when we have another edition of Chaos, hopefully I will see if we can collaborate and bring collagistas back into the scene. We'll see. But anyway, so it was collagista, which was artist to artist. Then so there's like cutout that you have in Ukraine, which is like kudos to you, you know. And then you have so in America you have the Collage Festival, which is organized in New Orleans by Collage magazine. And then you have, which one you have? This is more or less it when it comes to the festivals, you know. But then you have like this. Usually, you know, we can find exhibitions for collage artists through collage community, like it's, you know, collage community of Ukraine or collage community of Slovenia or collage community, you know, and there's like a lot of this open calls on it. Like in Slovenia, we have like this festival, Fine Arts Festival, which also happens in Kran, and then because every year is different team, but every 5 years there's also a collage team, and they also put an open call out, you know. And then Chaos, which happens every 2 years. Hopefully we will have it next year. Fingers crossed. Yeah, but I can also like think about it and maybe just send Annette, because now I'm totally under hype, but I can think about it and send Annette some links, and then she can send it to you guys anyway.
Thank you. Thank you for your answer.
Thank you. And there's a last question. What would be your dream collaboration if you could choose anyone in the world?
No, I can't do that. I don't know. I can't. Like, there's so many artists I would like to do. Like, you know, no, no. I cannot say, but I can say what type of a collaboration would be really fun for me. And this is, you know, I don't know if you saw, there's an artist JR and then Agnes Varda, who's a film director. So you maybe saw a documentary that they did, Faces to Places, a project collaboration. You should watch documentary if you haven't seen it, because it's very fun. And so this is how I would do it, you know, like just going with this car and just going around with Agnes Varda and doing collages on buildings, and just like the way they do it just looks so fun. And also, you know, I think in this collaboration what I liked is that Agnes Varda was older than JR, and JR is my age, and then Agnes Varda was older lady, you know. And I think this combination was also very, very cool, and they somehow have the same sense of humor. So this would be. But then also I'm doing this year one collaboration, which last year when I found out about this project, I was like, you know, I want to do this. And then this year I had the pleasure to be invited on this project, because this project is coming to Slovenia, and it's a project called If Paradise Was Half That Nice. And the origins of this project is in Netherlands. And so the Netherlands artists, and also then they have guest artists, and usually there are 10 artists, different artists with different like backgrounds. So, you know, it's like conceptual artists, you have like, I don't know, photography artists, then you have like video artists, then you have I don't know, sculpture, paint, whatever, you know. So every year they go to different abandoned places in different city, you know. And this year they're coming to Slovenia, and they're coming to Idria, where when there was a silver mine, and it's like already it's worn down, so it's an abandoned place. And there I'm going to work with this artist for 5 weeks. And the way we're going to do it is that we're going to sleep in the same space, abandoned space, where we're also going to work. And all the materials that we're going to use is going to be from the surroundings. So all the leftovers, all the garbage, you know, we'll do projects out of that. And each will do our own project in our own space. But then for the first week, we have to build, of course, because we're going to camp there. We're going to cook by ourselves. Like it's a totally, how do you say, art, trash, and scouts, everything together, like nature, and it's super cool. And so for the first week, we're going to build our kitchen and toilets and everything. And then for 4 weeks, we're just going to work on our art in these abandoned places, you know, and also in regards to the history, because we also have in the team one historian. So this, I think, collaboration was, if you would ask me last year, I would be like, yes, I want to be part of IPACHAN. And so this year I really am. So maybe this is like a dream collaboration for now. And which is also, I would say, it's called IPACHAN. So If Paradise Was Half That Nice. And the way that they work, they also do videos, and you have it on YouTube. And it's very interesting, and it's very inspiring, because when I found out about this group, I was just doing the preparation of Chaos, and I was a little bit down. But when I saw these videos, I was just like, okay, this is so super, super cool. And now I know why I'm doing what I'm doing, why I'm doing the Chaos, to search for artists to to show the good art to the world. So it just picked me up, and it's like I finished the Chaos in good mood also because of this project. But anyway, yeah, you can see on YouTube a lot of videos of them too.
Okay, I think that's a wrap for today. Thank you so much, Maruša, for sharing your experience with us. It was amazing.
Well, thank you, and I'm very much sorry for the technical problems. And even before, because I was afraid of technical problems, I knew that there's going to be technical problems. So thank you for jumping in and saving the situation.
No, it's okay. It's no worries. Thank you, everybody, for your patience.
Yes,
that you
thank
didn't leave
you.
the room. And please follow Maruša on social media. I shared it before. I'll share it again in the chat.
And anyway, I'm always happy to answer the questions. So even if you drop me on Instagram, or on Facebook or something, later on, if you have some question, I will write to you back.
Yes, thank you so much. See
Thank
you.
you.
Soon.
Thank you,
See
everybody,
you,
and
everybody.
have a good night, everybody.
Have a good
Thank
night.
you.